Now, Ralph Nader had an interesting life long before anybody knew who he was. Born to Lebanese immigrants, his father made him turn down a scholarship to Princeton since his family could afford to pay the tuition, and he felt scholarships should go to those whose families couldn't, which is a pretty cool philosophy to hold. And of course, Nader did end up attending Princeton anyway, and after graduating, he attended Harvard Law, only to disappear for days on end to hitchhike across the country learning about Puerto Rico. Wepa! And the rights of Native Americans and migrant workers. Nader just never seemed to gel with what he believed to be Harvard's unspoken mission statement to create individuals who would reinforce the status quo. As he would later say of his time at Harvard Law, quote, "From day one, I laughed at the game to prepare corporate lawyers. If anyone fell off the bandwagon and became a lawyer for the poor, it was viewed as a random event. They made mine sharp by making them narrow." End quote. Nader was committed to effecting change in one way or another. So upon graduating from Harvard Law, I guess Nader's personal history becomes a jumble of different lives lived in fast forward. He graduates from Harvard, but then he's a cook in the Army. He's practicing law in Hartford, Connecticut, but then he's working as a reporter for various publications, interviewing people like Fidel Castro and Salvador Allende. He's living in Washington, D.C., working in the Kennedy administration under Assistant Secretary of Labor Daniel Patrick Moynihan. But then he's writing a manuscript that would go on to become a bestseller, but not before losing it in a taxicab and having to rewrite it all over again because, in his words, he wouldn't give GM the satisfaction of not eventually publishing his book. And mind you, this is all in a roughly 10-year time span. It's a very Forrest Gumpian life. And I say all this as a way of explaining his activist political past to set up his work in automotive regulation and reform. But honestly, by the time the Corvair released in 1960, Nader had been critical of the auto industry for years. He had been studying automotive safety since his second year at Harvard Law, and was committed to seeing a government agency implement some kind of law to improve safety. He'd even written an article for The Nation in 1959, titled "The Safe Car You Can't Buy."